Hello, my name is Jason T. Ingram. I'm originally from the Pacific Northwest. My stage name is Fake Zappa. I started a business called Sunday Driver Productions back in early 2017 to follow my dream as an independent producer, multimedia artist, and mental health activist. I went through some business training. In fact, I even got a federal grant, went through vocational training because my goal is to get off of Social Security disability and to follow my dream and to do really the only thing I'm good at, which is creative work. Now, it's really interesting because during that time when I registered my business with the state of Oregon, I asked the people who I'd supported their careers because I was a keyboard accompanist, among some other things, supporting local live music. I had people I considered my friends, and I asked them, including my closest family members, for some word of mouth advertising. And I had a cousin who posted one of the songs from my band. And so basically, the whole thing is that I get money from the government. Why do I need to get back to work? Why do I need all that stress? If I'm so creative, why don't I just keep it as a hobby? Because that is basically what the message is. And so I had friends before that, and now I don't. I don't even talk to my family anymore. And life just gets more and more stressful. And when I was going through business training, I called it, I have an ego trip and a guilt trip because what I need is publicity, what I need is buzz, what I need is word of mouth advertising, what I need is recognition, and that is the most valuable thing that any artist can do beyond finances, because I've spent well over $10,000 just in marketing over this last year. And I currently have 3 CDs from 3 artists with my production company. And since June, I have made $33.21 on album sales and plays and things. Currently, I have a very sick cat who went to the kitty emergency room yesterday. And I just left um, South Texas because there was no opportunities there to do gigs in a touristy area. So I have a couple opportunities here in Central Texas, and I ended up with a winter flood warning here in this area. So I've been doing the RV thing. This is my 3rd year living on the road. 23 states, and you can see my campsite is pretty darn flooded, including my messy life right now. And so it's tough to spend time to try to keep everything clean and stuff like that. In fact, even just a little over a week ago, I was fixing leaks on the roof, and of course, that hasn't worked, as this is the second day with the flooding here. And so, this is my life. My mental health is out of control, and I'm getting medications, and I do as much self care as I possibly can. And there's only so much I can do by myself to run a business, to manage my physical and mental and emotional health. And I can say my life is way more stressful. The question that I don't get asked, which is really sad, is what happens when I don't follow my dream? Like a lot of hyper creative people who suffer with mental illness, it is very typical by the time they're my age. I'm 47 years old. And considering the trauma, the cultic abuse, the abuse in relationships with men who took advantage of me because I'm vulnerable and not recognized as being vulnerable as far as dating and in business and things like that. It has led to a continual downward spiral for the last 4.5 years since I lost my career as an accompanist. But not following my dream is basically a death sentence, because people like me lose control. We end up in self-harm, and eventually will die of either self-harm or self-inflicted things like that, or end up incarcerated, institutionalized like I have been over my life. And so I take things day to day, and I try to basically just do what I can to keep my life together in addition to trying to run my business. And at the same time, when people are invisible and they're powerful, it's not a big deal when they have friends and then when they have support and people that believe in them. People believe in my gift, they believe in my hobby, they don't believe in my career. They want to keep me a secret, they want to keep me silent. I was in Los Angeles, I started a music video. You can't even see my face in it. So that's an example of this guy is crazy, he's alone, he's unrecognized. It doesn't matter what he has to contribute, what he's suffered and survived. We've got to keep this guy a secret. And people that are a secret tend to do self-destructive behaviors. So it is, I'm just walking a tightrope, trying to cope on a daily basis with my life. And at the same time, though, when there are powerful people that suffer rejection, when there are powerful people that suffer, it is a whole different thing when folks in my situation suffer that kind of rejection. For instance, yesterday, I had this emergency visit to the veterinary clinic, and the only time they could fit me in was when I had a online audition, which I failed at, which was funny because it turns out that this thing, if I would have gotten the audition, I would have joined a virtual online comedy improv troupe, and I was working for a guy who was going to tell me what to do and train me because I had to pay him money to work for him. So those are the kinds of opportunities that I have, and those are even the kind of opportunities that I happen to fail at. No matter what it is, I have to contribute. And so that is the reality of my life. This is a life that folks want to shut out. They want to be in denial of. When they see a crazy old man, they don't want to offer support. They don't want to encourage somebody who's alone and who doesn't have any support, any recognition, because we want successful people. We want success stories. And I want to tell you, the success story is the fact that I am still alive. And that is amazing considering the amount of cultic abuse from organizations and individuals that I've had, being vulnerable and being out of control at times in my life. And the older I get and the more alone I get, the more I'm met with fear and not compassion. And during the pandemic, people are afraid and they're going crazy. And there's a lot of stories of people helping people that are recognized and that have very visible, apparent disadvantages. But when it comes to certain people, there are people that are invisible. And when people are invisible, there's only so much we can stand. And my goal is not only to get off of disability, but it's to undermine violent crime, and it's to also undermine what I think is going on with all of the hostility between the left and right wing, and also to expose the entertainment industry, what it really is when it has to do with disadvantaged artists that suffer with chronic illness and how we're treated and taken advantage of and given false hopes. And they take our money and run. So that is the long version of my short story, or the short version of my long story. For more information, you can go to fakezappa.com. And if you want to support me, that means you don't educate me, you don't tell me what to do, you don't give me advice, you don't tell me who to watch, who to pay attention to, and to give my attention and my power and my resources to people that are successful. What you do is you make me visible. And if not, find somebody who's invisible, give them visibility, give them recognition for what they've suffered and what they've survived, especially if they have something to contribute. Because what I've noticed is when a lot of people sign up for a lot of talent contests and things like that and they fail and they have nothing to contribute and they still have a lot of support from a lot of people, it is a real different thing when people suffer the rejection from the entertainment industry that they belong in. If they have something to contribute, if they have skills, if they have a good resume, if they have good product, if they have good ideas. And when those kinds of people get ignored, when those kinds of people are invisible, then that becomes absolutely unbearable to live with. And the worse it gets, the harder it is to get support. So it is a desperate situation. The reality of my life is something that people block out. It's very weird. It's very surreal because I talk about things, they change the subject when it comes to the reality of my life. And this is the sad reality of my life. It's usually not as messy as this, but it happens to do with last week. Drove 500 miles and things got a little shaken up, and then I had to reorganize all kinds of things because of all the flooding with my my spice cabinet, and trying to manage my medications and all that kind of stuff as well gets really hard when everything is flooded with water.